Hey guys, this is Hector from the Insert Name FC podcast here to tell you guys about Canadips. It is a great tasting, superior alternative to traditional dip using CBD in a way that is radical, enjoyable, and effective. It comes in 5 core flavors: wintergreen, mint, citrus, mango, and American spice. Canadips CBD is the new evolution in dip, allowing guys to enjoy great, long-lasting taste without the downsides. If you guys want to go ahead and try them out, use the code BellyUp20 at CanadipsCBD.com. Once again, BellyUp20 at CanadipsCBD.com, and you'll get yourself 20% off your purchase. Thank you again for Canadips for being a great partner of BellyUpSports. Don Garber, 2027. So the MLS commissioner has signed a contract extension that goes all the way through till 2027. Mind you, this has been the only the only commissioner MLS has ever had. He took the role in 1999, and that was in a time where MLS was just not looking good. They weren't great. They weren't doing great in financially. The numbers weren't making sense to the point where there was potentially a potential folding. Like MLS was gonna have to discontinue because it wasn't looking good for them. It wasn't panning out. And so I think that there was a lot of concerns about whether or not MLS was worth it. Robert Kraft of the New England Revolution, most of you guys know him for the New England Patriots, if you're American, ends up reaching out to Don Garber about becoming the commissioner for MLS, and to just get you guys a real understanding of Don Garber. Don Garber has never been a soccer guy. Maybe he has developed a fandom now for soccer, but like he was just here to come correct the fine the all the essentially he was here to fix the finances of the MLS and try to get them in a better position, which he has. And he even stated plenty of times, he's like, I didn't know anything about soccer. I didn't really care for it. And yeah, now he's here. And since then, like, I mean, look at the strides that MLS has gone since he took over back in '99. He helped one. Obviously, MLS is still here, so he definitely did his job as to prevent it from folding. But yeah, MLS has come a very long way since the early years. Obviously, some things that are, I mean, you got to think about it. Under his eye, under his supervision, he's been able to bring in a Thierry Henry, has been able to get this league appealing enough to bring in a Thierry Henry, being able to bring in a David Beckham, bringing in a Lionel Messi, and there's people trying to start clubs for trying to get in MLS now. We are now to 30 teams now, obviously including the new team San Diego FC. So it's a lot of things that Don Garber, when he came in, has taken massive strides with, and it is the team that it is, the league it is now. I believe they're going into the 30th anniversary of the league's existence. And I mean, there's more changes that are possibly being talked about. Things like a potential schedule change in a way to prevent schedule congestion. Obviously, it's been not only a discussion in MLS, but just across the world, that there's just too many games being played right now. The schedule congestion is very much a thing, and MLS considering moving from a what is it? A spring, fall season to now a fall spring. So starting in August and then ending it in May, which, I mean, some people may see that as like, well, I think of it's a positive because obviously the fact it now falls in line with everything else in the world. Like everyone else uses that same exact schedule, even Liga MX. And so I think that is a good thing. I'm actually for that change personally. I hope it does happen because it makes sense for transfers. It makes things a little bit easier, especially when you're trying to go and lure in these like older high profile names to come to the league. Instead of having them come in after their season's over and come wa right into the middle of another season that's currently going on, like most of them are now able to go into an off season, actually get familiar with the team, get familiar with the tactics. And it makes it an easier transition. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, um, there's hopefully some changes to the salary where you're able to you know the DP and under 22 initiative, that's a whole thing that I'm still necessarily not fully all in on. But I will say eventually as the league progresses and hopefully improves, those salary restrictions or player acquisition rulings and all that, it's gonna change. Like it's probably gonna move away from it, or it's gonna get the salary cap is gonna get larger, things like that. And I think that that's a good thing, and I hope it does happen. And then I think more changes to the league format as well is going to happen. I don't think that the league is not. I don't think they're done expanding. I don't. I think that they're going to try to bring in more teams. I'm sure to the point where they're gonna have to start having that discussion of and do I care about promotion relegation? I think I used to, but now that I see why promotion relegation doesn't necessarily make sense in America, because once again, this league is very young, and the whole concept is trying to get people to like this league. And if you go and start this, you're going to confuse a lot of Americans that don't understand soccer. And people are like, why do we care about them? We do care about them because in order for MLS to get bigger, you got to be able to lure those fans in. The just the straight up the casual. Like the diehards are one thing, but the diehards are a small percentage. The large percentage is the casual fan, the fan that goes every once in a while. Those are the fans that you're trying to keep. And so if, they all of a sudden like, oh, I like the Houston Dynamo. I want to know more about the Houston Dynamo. And maybe it was a year the Dynamo were terrible and then they get relegated and they're like, what's the second division? Oh, well, I don't want to watch them play in a lower league. I want to watch them play in the MLS. Now no one's watching it. And once again, it's the diehards that are still there. And the thing is with me, like I think that the difference of Europe versus here is the community sense, right? The sense of community that those clubs have established, even to the point now where people that aren't even from that community has some sort of connection. Like, I think the best example is the video that leaked out, that came not leaked out, that came out, that Nottingham Forest posted, right? They had a fan that's from Japan, never has been to a Nottingham Forest game, and finally gets to go to a Nottingham Forest game, and you can see like the passion that he had for that club. Mind you, this guy has no connection as far as living it in where Nottingham Forest is located, has no connection to the city, has no real connection to that community, but you sense his pride in that club, and you can feel his, his the how big that feeling was. And I think that that's the same thing. Like if I ever go to the Bernabeu, I've never been from, I'm not from Spain. I'm not from Madrid. I didn't grow up in Madrid. I don't speak Spanish, but I have a love and passion for Real Madrid. That is my club. That's who I root for. If I walk into the Bernabeu and singing, A la Madrid y nada más, that's gonna tug some strings for me. Like it's gonna be a huge moment, and and once again, like even watching Real Madrid here in Houston, like when I watch it with other Madridistas, whether it's the Champions League final or whatever, you can sense the passion that we have for this club. And so I think, and I don't think MLS necessarily has that, you know, and because like the casual Madridista is most of them are diehards. Like I'm a diehard Madridista. Like I'm not a casual. Like I don't view myself as a casual. But there's people that just watch Real Madrid, just watch Real Madrid, and and it's a big name, right? And that's where, oh, they get an Mbappe. Now people want to buy the Mbappe jersey. I mean, Chicharito's a prime example, right? They got Chicharito. They sold a shit ton of Chicharito jerseys because, obviously Mexicans support the hell out of each other. But I'm trying to, oh, I'm kind of going back into this. Why I don't think, I just don't think that like MLS promotion relegation isn't going to improve MLS. And I get that, oh, there's no punishment if you're the worst team. And I get those things. I get those things and wholeheartedly. But like getting the first pick in the MLS draft, you've heard me to the point of ad nauseum that I don't see the value of the MLS draft. And it's because these guys are picking guys and they're not playing them. It's always been my thing. So aside from that, what other they don't not being last place doesn't get you anything. You don't gain anything. You don't get extra money for being in the playoffs. You don't get nothing. You get nothing. And so besides the first a number one the first overall pick, but aside from that, that's like nothing. That means nothing, especially here in the MLS. So I think that the idea that there's no that these teams like that finish last place, they don't get relegated. I think eventually there is going to be a discussion for promotion relegation because you can't be adding all more teams, more expansion teams. Um, you can't be adding all these teams if you and not get start thinking about having different levels, different divisions, and you're gonna have to start talking about promotion relegation. You're gonna have to eventually have that discussion at some point. I don't think it's now because once again, I think this just if your goal is to try to gain those 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 casual fans, having promotion relegation doesn't do it. And I'm sure that I think there's some guy that's on Twitter or X, whatever the hell it's called, that is very much against promotion, that's very for promotion relegation, and thinks that if promotion relegation was here, that the growth of the game is going to be tremendously better. I don't think that. I don't think that that is the correlation to the growth of the game. The real correlation to the growth of the game is by putting more emphasis on the academies. When the academies start being more better utilized by these MLS teams, that's where I see the growth in the game being better. I don't promotion relegation is just a thing that Europe does and that, we see the drama of a relegation battle. And I get that. I get that tremendously because I love following those relegation battles. Because there is pressure from those relegation battles. But for me, I just don't think it's not the end all be all for the growth of the game here in the US. I don't think promotion relegation hurts or improves anything as far as the growth of the game. The growth of the game is going to come from the academies and eventually when we start seeing these academy products, you know, playing internationally, like when we see Caven Sullivan finally, when he gets his shine at Manchester City whenever that happens, obviously it's when he turns 18. But when he does play for Manchester City and he's an impactful player and he's, getting acknowledgement for Ballon d'Ors and winning, like, I'm not, and I'm obviously I don't know if that's what's going to happen to him, but I'm just saying, like when we start seeing like players, homegrown players, being able to be put up in the conversation as the world's best, that's when we'll say that the growth of the game is. But like I said, promotion relegation doesn't do that necessarily. So, uh, look, I think at least initially for me, I did feel like Don Garber maybe, as far as needing a businessman, I think we were good now. We're good the situation that we're in now. Obviously, we got this Apple TV deal. You know, the growth that we have now because of Messi. I think that as far as on a business aspect, we're doing the right things. But now it's to grow the game, grow the football, and I think we needed to go after a commissioner that understands that. And as much as I applaud Don Garber, I do think that we should have had somebody else come in for the commissioner. But hey, I'm fine with it if he continues to keep growing the game. Perfect. But eventually, we do need some people. We do need somebody to come in and be able to improve the academies and making academies maybe I don't know what you would have to do with pay to play, but that's more of a US soccer issue, not a MLS issue. But more initiatives towards MLS academies, and I think that that would be where once again growth of the game is more important in that aspect than it is promotion relegation. And I said what I said. If Ben Fast wants to say something to me, he can say something to me.